Hello and welcome to the coronavirus update for the 15th of December 2021, where, we're boned. Yeah, we're definitely boned. Um, and it comes in two parts. First of all, was a correction that people made to me about, my approximation that viruses become more transmissible and less deadly. Not as many correctly pointed out. Not actually that true for reasons I'll come to shortly. And this is also tied to the reason why it's going to be a very bad hair day shortly. And it all basically boils down to what's going on in South Africa, where you take a look at the most transmissible wave to date, which was Delta, where it takes, these are weeks, infections per week, and they go boom in, I don't know, 10-ish weeks, something like that. You take a look at Omega, and that's done that in 3-ish weeks. Now, some may point out that, but look, there's no increase in the deaths. Where's the problem? Well, the main problem is that if you actually line these things up, you find out deaths always lag the cases by a couple of weeks. This is people just testing positive. You find out whether they're going to die or not a week or two later. You need to be hospitalized and get really sick and all that sort of thing. But even if it turns out to be less fatal, this is still a very bad hair day, for reasons I'll come to. Now, bringing this a little close to home for me, I've just cancelled my plans to go back to England for the second year in a row, something I was fairly nonplussed about. But at this point, I don't really see any other sensible options. Now, this is an Omega wave here. That's not an Omega wave, a Delta wave. For the Doctor Who fans, a Delta wave is a wave of Enckesidine energy that fries your brain. But this Delta wave isn't. This was a viral Delta wave. The deaths never really got that high with this Delta wave, which is great. I'm happy with that. But the thing is that Omega is just starting to kick in here. That, sort of first point there is Omega. And the people are forecasting 1 million cases. Right? At the moment, we're at 500,000 cases per week-ish, which is as bad as it's ever been. They're forecasting by Christmas 1 million cases per day. And I don't think that's going to be far off the mark. People at work were rather darkly, at 1 million cases per day, you'll have infected everyone in the UK within 2 months. But why don't I think that's like scaremongering, blah, blah, blah? Well, simple. At the moment, Omega is already the most prevalent strain in London. More than 50% of the cases in London are already Omega. And so, that's probably going to go. This is probably going to absolutely explode in the next 3 weeks. And just so you know, if you're in America, you don't have cause for concern either, because America, my reckoning is about 3 weeks behind where the UK is at the moment. So America is going to go boom spectacularly as well. Like I said, I'm going to be spending Christmas not in England. You get to places like Germany, they've had these huge waves of Delta. But the problem is that immunity to Delta doesn't really help you that much with Omega. Even if you've got double vaccinated, which is good against most strains so far, against Omega, it's only about 30% efficient. And if you get the booster shot, maybe it goes up to 70, but that's still not great. So, there's thing's, nowhere. We never really got herd immunity against Delta, and Omega spreads much more easily than Delta. So, okay, well, can we not take some peace of mind in the fact that there's no spike of cases in South Africa? And this boils down very much to, quite a lot of people corrected me on the last video. So let's see what we got. All right. So how bad the virus is a combination of two things. It's how transmissible. It's how transmissible and times by how deadly. So obviously, if it's super deadly but not very transmissible, no one really cares. If it's highly transmissible but not very deadly, no one really cares. So you need factor A and factor B to be in place before things go spectacularly sideways. Now, what I previously argued, which has some truth to it, but it's not quite the whole story. I mean, this whole idea that viruses tend towards more transmissible and less deadly clearly isn't a universal thing with viruses, because there are plenty of things that remain bloody lethal, like smallpox, for instance. And so what's it going to look like is something like this. Imagine this is going to be time going that way in days. And in red, we're going to be having how many virus particles you shed per day. And so it's going to look like this as you get really bad. Then as you get better, it's going to go back to zero. So that's the sort of daily spread of how many virus particles you cough out. So that's going to be virus per day. And then if we have, what we're really interested in is how many total virus particles do I cough out? Because that's basically going to be how much this stuff spreads. And so that's basically the integral of this, which looks something like that. So that's going to be total virus spread. Cool. So my previous approximation was, well, if all things stay the same, but the virus kills you halfway through, so your virus load does something like that, well, then the total amount of virus that you spread goes up and then just stops and cough out any more virus. So obviously this number is bigger than this one. Therefore, viruses that kill you early tend not to spread very well, which is actually kind of true enough. But the problem comes is, imagine now that we got this fantastically transmissible virus that makes you cough out loads of virus, not particularly fatal. But what if all of a sudden it becomes much more virulent, such that rather than coughing out that much per day, you sort of cough out twice as much per day? Now, all of a sudden, you're coughing out, it's this number, right? It's this number versus this number. That's basically your spread number. So if it now mutates to something more virulent, you're going to cough out more stuff, and that's all bad news. But, so the thing is that even if the virus is sort of super duper in sort of cooking up and making you spread lots of stuff, even if it then kills you and it goes down to zero again, the thing is you can still be significantly, you can actually be better. You can spread better with a virus that kills you than one that doesn't, right? So if it can still mutate into more virulent, which basically, something that makes you shed more virus particles and more deadly. And the problem is, so you need the two factors. How bad is, transmissibility times by deadly, right? And at the moment, we've already got that one in the bag. This new wave is super transmissible. So, and seeing as there's shitloads of it, your chances of actually picking up mutations that make it more virulent are actually they wouldn't be out of the blue, right? It's not completely unexpected that things can go sideways spectacularly. Anyway, so yeah, like I was saying, that's basically why I cancelled my trip to the UK because I ah, yeah, I think this is not going to go well. Anyway, so on that happy note, I'll wish you good luck, and I hope you have a happier Christmas than mine.